Hey everybody, I'm back with another Sketchup to Explain tutorial, and today we're going to primarily focus on two things. One, components, and the other, how to texture round surfaces. So here we are in our cabin, and what I want to do with the cabin is this opening in the chimney. I want to use two clay pipes instead of this one single opening. So the first thing I need to do is close up that opening. The easiest way to do that is hit the select tool, the space bar, double click on that so that I select the chimney. Now remember, this is grouped, so I can't work with it unless I double click and select the group. Then I'm going to come up here to my rectangle tool, line up on the corner there, and then just close it off. Okay, now you're seeing some funky texturing going on here, no problem. I select that. And what I want to do is I want to get rid of these edges. So I'm going to use my erase tool. I select the edge and come up here to my erase tool or hit Echo on your keyboard, E, and then erase that. Now I have that nice uniform texture going on. And I just erase those lines. Now, I want those clay pipes coming out of the chimney. So I'm going to come up here to the circle tool and I'm going to draw a circle. Now, just a word to the wise. If you don't need a circle, in other words, the object is so small that you couldn't tell whether it was a circle or not, I recommend using polygons. That's less faces that the object is made out of, and it's going to be easier on your frame rate. But let's say we just want a circle. So we click the circle tool, and what I'm going to do is draw a circle right here. All right, and then I'm going to select it, double click on it, and now I want to make this a group first, and then I select it again by double clicking on it, and now I want to make it a component, and I'm going to show you why this is important here in just a second. So I named it pipe and I create it. All right. Anytime you see the face of an object doing that, it just means that the two faces are interfering with one another. So if you have faces shimmering against each other, you just need to move them apart a little bit. Even an eighth of an inch will work. All right, so now what I want to do, I want to move this. I hit M key, mic. I'm just going to move that over here. And I want two of these. So I hit Command C and V. And here's my other one. I'm just going to line that up right here. Okay, now I want to extrude these. So I use the push-pull tool, Papa on your keyboard. But first I have to select it. Notice both of these have selected. You're about ready to see the beauty of components. So I select the push-pull tool and I raise this up. Notice once you do one thing to a component, every other copied component is going to do the exact same thing. So if you have a bunch of similar objects that you want to manipulate exactly the same, components is the way to go. So I've raised this up, and now you can start to see how texturing might be an issue on a round surface. See all the faces that this circle generated. I hit the paint bucket and I paint it, and you can see, oh my goodness, I need to reposition this. One big problem with round surfaces, notice there is no texture to reposition. You can make it a unique texture, but don't do that. We want to manipulate this and turn it into a color that would be similar to those clay pipes that you see coming out of chimneys. So what do? Well, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have a projected image. So I'm going to double click away from this, and notice this component did exactly the same as the one that I was working with. And I'm going to set up my texture on a face just opposite of these two clay pipes. And I'm going to project that image on the clay pipes. So let's start off with a rectangle. All right, so I want this horizontal. So I'm going to push the left arrow and I get the green. All right, I'm just going to drag that down, and now I have this image. All right, and so what I want to do with this is I want to position it in such a way that I get this one color. Now, I didn't account for the clay pipe color on my initial texturing. No problem. I'm going to be a little adaptive and overcome by simply using an existing color on the texture. Now notice the texture comes up. I hit position. And now what I want to do is I'm going to use that orange color on the door, because that is about the same color as clay. All right, so I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to position the pins as close as I can until I make this nice and big. And now I'm going to grab the corners of this inset in the door. Then I'm going to slide the red pin to anchor it in my object that I'm going to project from. I'm just going to slide that all the way over there. Now I have one uniform color. I just use a space bar to get out of that. And so now what I want to do is right click, go to texture, and then come down here to project it. Once I hit projected, now I can use this to project the texture onto the object. One more step though. I'm going to come up here and hit the paint bucket, bravo on your keyboard, and then command to get the eyedropper. That way I'm projecting the exact same image on the clay pipes. All right, so I come down to the clay pipes. I need to select the object. So I double click until I get the face chosen. Bravo for the paint bucket on your keyboard, and then paint. And voila, here we have that clay color on the pipe. Now I want to do the top as well. Sometimes if your image is not just exact, you're going to get some squirreliness, but remember the top of that circle is a flat surface, so you could adjust that. See, if you go down, right click, you can go to texture and you can position that. But on the round surface, there is no way to select and position that texture. All right, and notice the other clay pipe did the exact same thing. Now, what I want to do is I want to use the inset tool, or I'm sorry, the offset tool, and I'm going to make this look a little bit more realistic. So I come over here, I select, first you got to select the face, then select offset, click on the edge, and notice now I can offset, then I select the center, push-pull tool, and drop this down. Notice the component working together. That's the beauty of components. And then I hit select, select out of this, zoom out, and there you have it. 2 clay pipes coming out of the chimney. And then I can hit the select tool, select this object that's projecting my texture, delete that, double click, and now I have my clay pipes instead of the one opening in the chimney. So that's the way that you, number one, paint rounded surfaces with a texture using projection. And number two, you also learn how to use components. So now, I just want to apologize for slurring words sometimes with ALS. Speech is getting more difficult, so sorry about that, but I'm sure that you understood it well enough. Okay, hope that's helpful.